Morning, friends. Pastor Chuck Blair. Actually, it's evening here. I'm doing an archived version because we have a meeting tomorrow morning. And anyways, just thinking a bit about this sermon we have coming up. We're down here in Vero Beach, Florida, where every year we do a service and gather a lot of folks down here. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. If you're in the area, more than welcome to join us. You can find the details on our homepage as well. If you'd like to come. And what we're going to be talking about is this idea of spirituality for the second half of life, spirituality for the second half of life, first half, second half. And it is so interesting to watch how these transformations happen in our spiritual lives. And this is just some random thoughts that I have on it because it's something so incredibly powerful. And the key part to start out with that I keep on coming back to in my mind because it's so fascinating is that nothing is wrong in this journey. Like God has the journey. And we will go through this first half of spirituality. And like many things, especially in our culture, we think, well, that gives rise to something even better. And it's not. These are necessary steps, crawl, walk, run. It's you're all necessary steps on the journey. And what are some of the things we find? Well, as we go from first half to second half, we'll see a lot of really positive things. We'll move away from kind of our desire for independence all the time. We'll find a deep interdependence. We'll move away from always wanting more to like, oh, life is enough. Life is enough. We'll move away from always needing to be right to really valuing being a relationship, that it really comes down to relationship. And all these transitions, one after another, are incredibly important. They take place over time, and we don't get to the second one unless we go through the first. That's really key. And do these parts have hard parts too? Well, yeah, they have some very hard parts, some very hard parts of the transition. And I love here Richard Rohr's, some of the wording he uses. He says when you hit the second half of life, second half of spirituality, what we develop is what he called a bright sadness. And I thought, oh, that really makes a lot of sense. And I imagine that resonates with most of you watching as well. There's this real complete joy of life. We've seen so many joyous things. We see great, beautiful things. We see the very goodness of life. And at times that can even make life more difficult in a certain way. It can make life sort of a heartbreaking ache a lot of the time because it's just this this increased realization, why aren't we there yet? Why, as cultures, do we continually battle these issues around and around and around? And that is one of the parts about being a history teacher. And I read a lot. You just see like so many issues we battle with are issues we've always battled with, and it seems like issues we will always battle with, and that there's no sort of crossing the finish line with these things. And that creates a bright sadness because we've seen something, we've seen a future, we've touched it, we've maybe even lived in it for a moment. And then there's the inevitable just, oh, yeah. And then there's this thing called life. And the other part of that is when we hit the second half, spirituality for the second half of life, or as David Brooks would call it, the second mountain, is another one that's a little hard, which is the dismissal of what Richard Rohr calls our loyal soldier. Our loyal soldier is that do-good part of us that really like took care of business, really takes care of things, really just on it, not deeply heart-oriented, but very much loyalty-oriented, very much brain, very much head, not necessarily a lot of heart. And when we go into the second half of life, we have to sort of dismiss that loyal soldier because life we start to realize is a lot more complicated than what we thought. Those things that we were so definitive about, like in terms of black, right, right, wrong, we start to discover in the second half of life a lot more areas of gray. That doesn't mean that we are neutral about things. I think we can be even more outspoken and more powerful. But we start to realize more and more that, yeah, most people, they're trying pretty hard and most people are really trying their best. And most people, life is difficult and has challenges. And we just have a lot more grace about us. And we just don't need, to constantly be on the defensive. And that's where we dismiss the loyal soldier. And that can feel a little challenging too, because that loyal soldier has served us well. It's gotten us to this point in life. And then there's time again where we have to leave that behind and move forward. So for all these reasons, folks, like this journey from first half to second half is a beautiful, hard, difficult journey, but it's a wonderful paradigm for life. And I think one of the strongest points of it is allows us to see other people in light because whatever stage we're in on the journey, and again, we're talking about first half, second half, there's probably about a million different sub stages within that. We really only can see our slice of the experience. And just think for yourself. Think of those things you were absolutely certain of as a teenager. Absolutely no doubt about it, in your most righteous moments, absolutely, absolutely convinced of. And now look how different that is now in your older years, and that doesn't matter whether you're a 21-year-old looking at this. I guarantee you're seeing it very differently than when you were 16. And somehow it all belongs. Somehow that's all part of the game. And we see our idea of certainty just shift in so many ways. And the beautiful part of it, friends, is that there's a new kind of certainty that really seeps in, should seep into our souls, I think, which is just this deep faith, this deep, deep, deep abiding faith that, yep, I understand so little, but God holds so much. That's simple. I understand so little, God holds so much, and He's got it all. I don't get it, and I don't need to get it, and I will never get it. And I just have this deep abiding trust that God's got it. And I would wish that for I don't know, it sounds strange to say I wish that for you, but I certainly do wish that for so many people because it really is what's true. I believe that in my heart of hearts. So, friends, as we go into this weekend, just be thinking about, yeah, first half, second half. Like, where are you on that journey? Where do you find those certainties shifting? Where do you find the changes taking place? Do you find yourself in the second half some of the time, first of the half, most of the time? Like, where are you in your journey? It's an interesting way to think of it. On that great journey is all the spiritual journey really comes down to is this art of homecoming, this journey from our head to our heart. And it's a beautiful journey indeed. So I hope that makes sense, dear friends. And I hope as well that you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead. And I'm wishing you all the very best with that. And with that, we're going to shift and we're going to shift gears here into our little prayer, our little meditation, and our little blessing. Again, please leave comments. I will gladly take a look at these comments when I'm all finished here. And we'll look at them tomorrow morning when we get all done with our meeting in the morning. So, with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, God bless. And again, just a quick invite. If you happen to be down in this area, down the Vero Beach area, please join us 11 o'clock for a special Sunday service. You can find directions, locations, RSVP. Well, you just come, to be honest. But we'd love to see if you get a chance to come down and you're down this area enjoying some of the